Hello and welcome to Seton, the holiest place of all of real-time strategy. We got a game here between BC Clan, Bad Company Clan, versus some very good players. Actually, XBX, DilliDalli making an appearance on Setons. Don't think he plays here very often, but taking the mid spot, that'll be interesting. He's got very good players on his side, though. Some classic Seton players, Icon and VMC. They also got Pro Life on their side, playing UEF from Rock, but he's going to be taking on some very good BC TF. A classic Seton's player as well, playing as Aeon. So Aeon versus EF in the bottom motion. On the top, we got Napalm, who's going to get a very big challenge of trying to take on Icon. Both playing Cybern, so it should be a nice Cybern on Cybern battle. And in the back, BC Snuff-Out, so Snuff-Out versus VMC. Overall, pretty good matchups in all different oceans, all different spots. So, as this game starts, I want to mention a few things. First off, that Reddit thing was a bit of a failure. It's probably a combination of things, me being a noob on Reddit, as well as because people don't care too much, and a lot of people care to vote it down as well. So that's over. Probably won't do that in the near future. I think the much more effective way is using YouTube search. Actually, a couple of videos ago, I asked people to search for Supreme Commander and click on videos that are actually good. And it actually did have an effect. A couple videos from Napalm and me are on the top page. I'd love some of Guile's videos made it there as well. It actually makes a massive effect if you look at the statistics of where people come from watching these videos. If they make it on the front page over search for a certain search word, and Supreme Commander is the main search word for this game. For people who don't know what to search for, it's makes a huge difference in terms of how many new players see it. Probably much more effective than a Reddit post that's a failure. So hopefully that makes sense to people, and they can choose what they want to do based on that information. Looks like a whole bunch of engineers from both players. DilliDalli going with 2 engineers going to point defense. Kind of like Mr. White, also bringing a whole bunch of tanks. So DilliDalli also didn't add engineers. So Blackheart is all alone with his ACU in the middle, and this is going to be critical. He just killed that engineer, so critical kill there for Blackheart, killing both engineers and denying the point defense. So this should make it quite even in terms of how much mass is going to be reclaimed. DilliDalli did have that early advantage, but I think Blackheart is really going to catch up. And DilliDalli finishes the point defense. This is a great move. Blackheart should have taken time to reclaim it, and that's really going to swing things here. Meanwhile, it looks like Blackheart was able to win the early tank battle, and now he's going to go on assault, but no engineers surviving in the middle. Meanwhile, we might see a challenge for this island from Tiep, although it looks like there's already a factory for Pro Life, but a bomber coming in. These engineers are split, which is nice. One of the engineers will die. He'll take another kill from the bomber to do anything, but likely it won't get that. Blackheart not going for an upgrade. There's still a couple of mass chunks, and I believe DilliDalli is actually going to win this. 3,700 ready to reclaim. Meanwhile, Blackheart at 6,000 already. So Blackheart feeling like he already got enough mass. 6,000 is actually exactly half of all the mass, and under his circumstances, I think he did quite well. Seeing nice scouts from both sides, and it doesn't look like anything crazy is going to happen on the islands. Looks like Naval has taken his island, and Pro Life has taken his. One thing we can mention though, DilliDalli was busy fighting, didn't reclaim as much early on, so mass is inflated. And if you want an explanation for that, you can go to the WWPC website and see those charts, which tells you what mass inflation means. Just like with real money in real life, as you create more volume, your normalized value of money decreases. So looks like an attempt at a drop here, which is successful. Some engineers dropped off a point defense going up for Pro Life. We should see some bombers on the case. There is a factory here for Tiep, so could be minimal damage, but an RD or bomber is necessary to clean up. Otherwise, we're just seeing from Icon and Napalm pretty big air forces, but not too much. Icon does have a naval factory in the water just in case, but not producing anything. Looks like a drop, a Mantis drop coming up for Napalm. And of course, given that Blackheart got a whole bunch of mass early on, that mass is very well invested by his side, all that excess mass. even though it looks like DilliDalli now at 7,000, Blackheart 7,000, exactly even. The fact that Blackheart got a little earlier should have been an advantage for Snuff Out. It looks like in terms of score, VMC making up for it. VMC, of course, one of the best Seton's air players there ever was. So it's a big challenge for Snuff Out. Also, another thing I wanted to mention, Seton's voting. Thought it would be a good idea last week. Come up with a formula for getting top 10 Setons, but it was really relying on people voting, but it looks like it was a problem. Besides about 6-7 people who voted correctly, everybody else is kind of confused. So I think I'll just drop that idea until some other time. So thanks for the voting. It was kind of interesting data at first, but then it stopped because people just started putting up their own top 10s. Most people just didn't do anything. Looks like Tech 2 Navy coming up for TIP. Only Tech 1 from Pro Life, but a whole bunch of Tech 1. So, and also Pro Life, nice scouting also is coming in with a Tech 1 submarine. And in the middle, it appears DilliDalli getting pushed back. Blackheart, Tech 2 Engineering. He's got Tech 2 point defenses in the middle. He's going to get a couple extra mass protection. Of course, grab in the middle, the really big advantage is now your cruise missiles are in range of the enemy's base. We should see DilliDalli. Looks like he's just getting the gun. Actually, no, this is Tech 2 Engineering. He probably wants to get some TMD up ASAP. He's got a couple, quite a few Tech 2 mass ejectors as well. Quite a few more than Blackheart. Blackheart also with Tech 2 lands, got some Tech 2 NGs, Tech 2 flak. Looks like a gunship has been given over by Icon, or is just sort of hanging out. If this gunship dies to some flak, it'd be kind of sad. Looks like it's just going to be shot by Tech 1 NGs from Napalm. Looks like both Napalm and Icon are beginning to get a Navy. Just Tech 1 from Icon, Napalm, also a bunch of Tech 1. So both the Icon and Napalm making a whole bunch of frigates. Very similar. One thing, of course, Napalm does have rocks, so quite a few more mass extractors. But of course, Icon, perhaps the best player overall. From the early voting that I got, it was Icon, Mr. White, and M&B. From about 6-7 players, based on the formula that I posted. Those are the top 3. Icon, I think, would have probably got it. And of course, Sith was there as well. But really, those players were the best according to the people who voted. Looks like 3 drops coming in now from Pro Life. That's going to be pretty interesting. Looks like this problem was solved without too much problems. And pretty big Navy early on from TIP. He is getting resource allocation. You can see this is the valid one, minus 750. He's got one of them. Some Tech 3 power now coming up for Snuff Out. And actually, it's an advantage for the air player if both the Navy's players get resource allocation, because usually Navy players can't use all that power. So it comes back to the air player so they can build their Tech 3 mass extractors a little later and just to go off resource allocations of their allies to produce air. Usually the thought is that the air player makes all the excess power, but given how expensive ASF is, eventually with enough build capacity, it goes the other direction as well. So those are the subtle things in economy, the teamwork on Setons that's, I guess, not obvious to people. DilliDalli now trying to get base going. He's got a Tech 2 shield. Blackheart already has a pretty well-established base. Also mobile missile launchers putting pressure. Tech 2 points defense for DilliDalli. Cyber Tech 2 point defense, of course, shooting very low. They get blocked by the smallest of hills. Quite even in the middle, but I think Blackheart with a significant advantage taking the mid spot. Of course, that's very vulnerable later on, depending on what the navies do. Here's Pro Life now with a shield, a torpedo boat, and a bunch of frigates. Meanwhile, TIP, just a whole bunch of frigates now retreating. Looks like those drops were not successful. A couple damaged Tech 2 mass structure, not much more than that. Looks like some gunships for Tiep took care of that problem. They were likely made by Snuff Out. And now we see air forces from both players, and very even numbers. Let's see if there's an air fight here. It'd be actually quite close, but I think actually Snuff Out might have numbers. VMC, though, being very aggressive. I think Snuff Out is looking for this fight. And that may have been a mistake there. VMC is just too solid on the micro and wins this very one-sided. It's a big setback now for the bottom side. They have just lost air in a very early time here, minute 16. Could be very timely for ProLife, who appears to be in a bad spot against Tiep, who's got 2 destroyers now, with a whole bunch of frigates and only 1 destroyer so far for ProLife. Also very low build capacity, getting shields as well. Does have a decent Tech 1 force, but he's under fire from Tech 2, which is a problem. And you really can't. He got to hold on to that shield as much as he can, as well as the destroyer. But most likely the destroyer is going to be targeted. And if he loses that, he's in a lot of trouble. ProLife loses his destroyer. Also a cruiser now from Tiep. And now that looks bad. Given the air control from the top, I think VMC needs to start helping ProLife as soon as possible. ProLife does have a bunch of torpedo launchers to counter the frigates, but of course A on very long range on destroyers. One destroyer is nearly dead. He's not going to go directly against ProLife's naval production. He's got another destroyer out. Okay, that was very important. Now torpedo bombers, and I think with a couple torpedo bombers, ProLife should be able to survive, but they got to take care of this cruiser. I think ProLife is just going to survive, but a new navy coming in now from Tiep. Up on top has just been built up. Huge force from both Napalm and Icon. A couple destroyers together with these frigates. And now it looks like Napalm is going to go in a little bit not really as compact as he could be. He's just sort of rushing in. And that's one thing you got to do with Navy. You got to keep your fire concentration very concentrated. You want to keep it all in one big group like this, like what Icon has. Otherwise, you're just going to get outgunned. Also, some torpedo launchers coming up. It looks like Tech 3 torpedo bombers and another air fight from VMC. VMC continues to dominate air. And that's actually allowing a ProLife to begin to counter the destroyers sniped by VMC's air. So far, total air domination by the top side. Snuff Out is very frustrated, which is not surprising. Looks like those even numbers between Icon and Napalm are no longer as even as they used to be. I think it was completely because of that micro. It looks like we do see some. I thought we saw some Tech 2 submarines. That would be a good move for Napalm. We actually don't see them. And now very quickly Icon is going to come in and claim the fruits of that victory. And now Napalm is on a back foot against Icon, and that's very dangerous. You see Icon just keeping all of his units in very close proximity, so whatever they're shooting at gets hit much more. And now with air control from VMC, Napalm is in quite a bit of trouble. At the same time, we're seeing DCC pushing against Blackheart is halfway done on a chicken. And actually this could be a very dangerous thing. Blackheart is in danger of actually losing this chicken. Once it's spotted, Icon might pull back and destroy that. It looks like Icon actually is going to come in directly at Napalm's base. Napalm does have a couple Tech 2 submarines, but there is at least 4 destroyers here from Icon, so that's going to be dangerous. Napalm coming in with some Tech 2 bombers. At the same time, without the support of air, it looks like ProLife once again in a bit of trouble against Tiep. And yet another air fight. Very similar numbers. And this is critical. I think if VMC wins this, then it's actually going to be very close. Then Napalm is screwed. He might already be screwed. And I think VMC is going to win it once again. And a lot of reclaim for both VMC and Icon right away. So you can see Icon VMC by far, maybe not by far, but probably even by far the two best players on this map in this game. Napalm just getting absolutely run over, and I think it was completely the fact that he went in kind of a stream of units against the Icon's blob, and just concentrated firepower from Icon, and this is the result. It's not that Icon outproduced him, but it's always very difficult to catch up, and that's exactly what's always been happening for Snuff Out. He lost that first air fight. He actually won after VMC lost it by micro. And I've been trying to catch up, and VMC always with a little bit of extra ASF. So a complete disaster. Meanwhile, Tiep now on an assault. Oh, this is nice to see some absolvers for Tiep, so that's a nice anti-shield weapon. And looks like Tiep is just going to move in, is going to try to put pressure, and the chicken is finished. It appears Blackheart was able to finish the chicken before the Navy from Icon came in. And that means full retreat for DilliDalli. Finally, something good has happened for the bottom side and coming through the middle. A little bit of flak here as well. Not really sure if it's going to be able to make it. And now Strat bombers are going to target that chicken. So that chicken probably wants to run away. It's under fire from Navy and Tech 3. It needs the support of the Navy from Tiep for air support. And, oh, that's unfortunate. And what has just happened? Napalm has been killed. So one-way traffic, Icon versus Napalm. Here, minute 24, and you can see here Icon VMC all over this reclaim. There was Harms here still alive, and actually not much Navy left for Icon. He had just enough to kill Napalm. Meanwhile, a pretty big disaster now for Pro-Life, even though Pro-Life had air control. This Navy from Tiep dominating, and now Pro-Life beginning to lose units. Meanwhile, this is a big loss. This chicken is going to be a nice reclaim for DilliDalli, and I gotta say it's because of this Navy from Icon. Icon now coming in with some battleships, and those are going to reach deep into Blackheart's base, who also has now the benefit of Napalm's old base. Looks like this Harm is actually going to get quite a few kills, all those frigates. Maybe another air fight. Snuff Out. And now this is a good looking force here. We're seeing Tech 3 siege tanks, snipers, shields. And yet another fight. Snuff Out. Not really sure if he had numbers once again, but he's going to fight over cruisers. And actually Snuff Out here appearing to get the better of VMC, and that could be a glimpse of hope. If Snuff Out wins air here, which appears that he will, and be Tiep's victory in his ocean, although it's not nearly as advanced as Icon's domination over Napalm. This could make this much more even. Blackheart, meanwhile, full retreat. He's now under assault from Tech 3 Navy and Tech 3 Land. He needs to build up a very good defensive position, choose what he wants to give up, and build up. Most likely he's probably going to have to give up everything up here and then shield down here, protect his Tech 3 mass structure. He's getting another chicken. That could be very dangerous. These battleships can definitely reach into this position. It looks like the Navy from Tiep is going to pull back, try to play some defense. Be willing to bet that probably BC, Clan, all these guys are on Skype, so that's why we don't see too much chat. They're probably telling each other what's going on, likely the top side as well. Looks like this Harm with 12 kills is going to allow Blackheart to get a little bit of reclaim here, and actually engineers two different colors of green. If VMC here reclaims this Harms, that would be ridiculous. And yet another air naval fight. We still haven't seen Tech 3. That's probably the best move for Pro-Life here. More build capacity and get some battle cruisers. Otherwise, Tech 2 versus Tech 2, Aeon is going to win it. They do have the range. Also, cruisers for Aeon, of course, very dominant, together with the Air Force from Snuff Out. Meanwhile, another chicken has been completed by Blackheart. Probably very timely. There are some trickle of Tech 3 units coming in. But this Navy from Icon, really no answer, is not going to wipe out Blackheart's base. Anything that doesn't have a whole bunch of shields is going to die. Very unfortunate. We're also seeing some Tech 3 torpedo bombers from Tiep to help his naval domination. And it looks like there's no hope for Pro-Life. So Pro-Life is going to lose here. Pro-Life asking Green to help with air. Probably a valid point, but not much that VMC can do. VMC choosing to get out of the spawn is going to go to a safer place. But really it's the fact that Snuff Out won that air battle. The VMC can't really do much against this Air Force, and the Pro-Life is absolutely screwed. We're now seeing missile ships. Missile ships, of course, can reach further than any other naval ship, besides, of course, nukes. Can outrange the battleships, and that if you get Aeon missile ships, a few of them, in an enemy ocean, they will wipe out quite a bit of your base. Very difficult to defend against with TMD as well. So what has happened to this? This chicken is leaving this base and going into the water. Likely this chicken is going to attack Pro-Life's base. As Blackheart is losing his base here very slowly, but not much that he can do about it. Blackheart choosing to rebuild here. It's a little hill. Take 3 power and some shields. Also some destroyers getting on land for Icon. So big advantage for the top side is that DilliDalli does have a complete base. Pro-Life finally dies. Then he's actually working on a Wasa that's more than halfway done. That's going to be very interesting. That Awasa, we can't say the top side have air controls. That Awasa might die very quickly. We're going to see these missile ships get up front, start to put pressure on Pro-Life's old base and DilliDalli's base. And now it looks like the support commander has teleported from Icon, or not teleported, dropped off. He's going to get a Tech 3 Raider on enemy territory. That's going to be very, very nice. That's going to give him huge radar advantage. As we're seeing, looks like a spider is planted here by Blackheart, but Napalm's old base slowly disappearing. Icon saying they have a chicken somewhere because he did not see where this chicken from the middle went. He's correct. This chicken is now halfway through the ocean on his way to Pro-Life's base. We're now seeing restorers from Snuffa. He's going to try to help out his middle ally. But that's a lot of anti-air here from those cruisers. Also VMC coming in. So those resties won't live for too long. They're still alive, kill and destroy. But this is a very good anti-air chunk here. Actually quite a bit of anti-air all over the place for Icon. And these battleships are going to reach very deep. 49 kills, 35 kills for Icon. And looks like something's been spotted. Yeah, it looks like topside saw something on radar walking. We see an anti-nuke here, teleport protection, some transports, more Tech 3 power. I'd like to see an experimental here ASAP. And here's the Wasa now for DilliDalli. See what that looks like. He's going to go after Pink's NGs, so that would definitely be good. Taking out build capacity. Actually, a bomb right here would probably end the game if he can get that far. It looks like the bottom side completely oblivious to the fact there's an Awasa. He is not going to come back because he must see that bad things are beginning to happen. And let's see how far that Awasa gets.
definitely been spotted. And let's see if DilliDalli goes after this power. And that's going to really suck. Although that's going to be the only bomb for the Wasa. It did cause quite a bit of damage. Now snuff out here, minute 31. Oh, huge power deficits whenever he built an ASF. Massive scout now for a Tiep. Tiep has completely won Navy. And now the missile ships are going to be attacking. This is interesting. DilliDalli going with the Scathis. He's going to get some help from Icon as well. Icon does have a nice soothsayer and Tech 3 Raider, so taking over Napalm's old base. And it's imperative now for the bottom side to get Tech 3 power somewhere. Seeing quite a bit from Tiep. Tiep also making many more missile ships. He's got at least 5. Also some destroyers here, causing nice direct damage. This would be a great target. There's an anti-nuke here. It's not loaded, but it'd be nice to take that out. Scath is about a third of the way done, and that's going to be a nice counter to this Navy. Actually, it looks like this tank made it all the way through. The remnants of Blackheart's base. Blackheart getting a missile defense. Probably feels this is far enough, but actually these battleships are beginning to reach directly at where he's building this missile defense. The Navy from Icon beginning to encroach on the rest of Napalm's base. And now the chicken finally gets on land, 4 kills. He's going to be running over Rolive's base. Now it looks like these missile ships, you see a lot of TMD, but that's definitely not enough. These missile ships need to take out that Scathis before it starts wiping out Tiep's Navy. And now Strat bombers from Snuff Out getting hit by cruisers. And this chicken now making way quite deep. It's going to probably kill all these units. A whole bunch of mercies now for VMC is going to try to snipe that chicken. We see a response from both Tiep and Snuff Out. They're going to completely leave their base unprotected from air, so if the top side had some strat bombers, it'd be a great time to come in. We're also seeing Snuff Out looks like making strats. And this chicken decided to go in the water because anticipated those mercies. Meanwhile, the Scathis has been completed. It is beginning to fire. Very high arch, very long range. That's so many missile launchers. I think if they know there's a Scathis, they can target it and most likely take it out. DilliDalli making TMD, but is in the process of losing quite a bit of units here. There's just so much damage that these cause. Looks like the mercies were wiped out. Now we're seeing torpedo bombers from VMC. Chicken is going to come out of the water. So minute 34 here. Extremely even game. Definitely not obvious what will happen next. This is really good looking. 5 aircraft carriers. One good thing about aircraft carriers, they will repair your ASF very quickly, which in games like this becomes very critical. Now we're going to see a very big air fight. It's going to be 2v1. We see Tiep is actually going to come in as well. And here, it's going to definitely be a lot of reclaim for the top side. So hopefully the Team Bad Company definitely know what they're... Well, hopefully they know what they're doing. Because they're feeding a lot of mass now. It's likely that Snuff Out feels he's got a whole bunch of strats that can come in if they win air right now. These missile ships beginning to target, it appears, the Scathis. They're trying to break through the shields. But they are under assault. Actually, some of these missile ships dying. And now it looks like with Tiep coming in, this is going to be a victory for the bottom side. Icon, well, this is a good-looking base from Icon. A whole bunch of all kinds of great things, but they do not have air. So, let's see what happens. And looks like this Scathis is now under fire from the missile ships. Although a couple of the missile ships are dead in the battleship. And we completely forgot about this chicken. This is really what precipitated that air fight. Is now on the loose. And we can't forget what's happening here. A spider now for Blackheart is going to deny these cruise missiles. We see the support commander is going to get on the transport and get out of there before he dies. Now here come the strats.
It's a logical thing to happen. Let's see what they actually decide to target in minute 35. And this Navy getting hit by that Scath is hard. It looks like those strats are going to go after either the Scathis or perhaps even DilliDalli. Likely it's going to be DilliDalli. DilliDalli is out of the game. So it is now 2v3. Nice snipe from Snuff Out. So even though VMC had air control early on, Snuff Out has taken air back and now made that count. Scath's, of course, still alive. Let's see if it's actually given one of the units that's given another air fight. Still huge amounts of reclaim for the top side. Let's see what VMC decides to do. Need a lot of build capacity, a lot of power. Oh, looks like a pause. Not really sure why. Snuff Out saying he's got to go, which is very unfortunate. He has given his units over to Blackheart. Still a quite even game, but Icon and VMC sitting on huge, and that victory that they got killing DilliDalli is really cancelled out by the fact that Snuff Out has to leave. That sucks. But looking at Chip's base, he's got a lot of aircraft carriers. Should give him a lot of good build capacity for air. It's a good repairing. This Scathis being alive, though, is huge. It's going to deny a lot of this naval. There isn't a Scathis for the bottom side, which means they can't really deny this Navy here. They might consider making it. And, well, this is interesting. Teleported SCU got some stealth and making cruise missile launchers. And that could cost a lot of power if it snipes the right units. Those cruise missiles can reach most units in a pretty big radius. We're also seeing a lot of aircraft carriers for Icon. Somehow Icon, there's still a Navy presence here, which is quite amazing. More support commanders, but really the person with the most support commanders, we're seeing just a massive support commander spam from Icon. Getting more power, huge amounts of build capacity. Looking for a long-term game here. Imagine he's got a nuke. He's got 2 missiles in the anti-nuke. Would expect him to get multiple anti-nukes. Probably one in the middle here as well. Actually, I don't see one. Do we see too many nukes from the bottom side? And one thing about the bottom side, they do have Cybern, but they're not really using it. They don't have too many hives. So unit limit is really going to start screwing them here. They do really want to save these Cybern units. I hope they have some in the back here, otherwise once that gets wiped out, they'll lose a tech. But this should be interesting. Let's see how well this works out. Scathis, meanwhile, 99 kills, and now a nuke. Where is this coming from? A nuke from VMC here in the middle. I'm not really sure what he's targeting. Meanwhile, these missile ships actually suppressed by the Scathis. Scathis is an extremely powerful weapon. Now Megalith's coming up for Icon in the middle. And looks like the nuke is going to go against his base, and if that's all the Cybern that the bottom side have, that's just tragic. Because then that will deny many good weapons, for example, the Scathis. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. No more Cyber now is a critical nuke in this game. This Scathis can actually reach quite far here, 100 kills. The Navy from, forced back. I really wish Napalm would have told him to save some Cybern engineers. Maybe there's one that's lost somewhere, but well, actually, no, sorry. There is. It appears that some Cybern was saved here, maybe even by Snuff Out when he was still alive. So it's not as bad as it looked. And actually, all this wreckage is also going to be denied. Oh, is this? It's a nuclear sub going very deep. Has no missiles though. Whole bunch of nuclear subs from Tiepp. Here, minute 40. More support commanders. Still haven't reclaimed all these units. I would expect T4 nukes or something to come out. Maybe even their UEF for the side. I know Pro was UEF. And oh, that sucks to destroy that factory. I really hope the top side don't miss out on UEF. Something like a Maverick could be very nice. Blackheart in the middle, getting more shields. He's got multiple anti-nukes. Anti-nukes in this type of game are very critical. It looks like a whole bunch of Strat bombers are being ready. That could cost somebody their life. But of course, only Strat bombers might not be enough. We're also seeing scouts for Icon. You will see those Strat bombers. But so far, it looks like mostly ASF from Icon and VMC. So likely, if there's another air fight without snuff out, topside might win air, and these strats are going to be not very effective. Yeah, Napalm suggesting a Megalith or a Scathis. Scathis would be really nice. It would deny all that Navy. No shields for Cybern, so these battleships would have to respect. We're also seeing not too many hives. And that's going to be a problem. Oh no, of course, I forgot about these. These cruise missiles are now flying. It looks like some strats found out and killed the support commanders, but the cruise missiles are definitely on their way. They're going after power, taking out mass extractors. But more strats. These need to keep firing. Otherwise, they're going to die. That could have been much better, I think. It was there for a long time and didn't kill enough units. Was eventually found out, probably by some random bomber. So minimal damage, but a good idea. More scouting. And now that's a huge air force. You can see all those aircraft carriers made a huge air force. See if these Strat bombers can do something. It'd be difficult for them to get past all those T3 air fighters. And you can see the air force for both Tiepp and Blackheart is quite big, but probably not big enough. A whole bunch of support commanders on transports for Icon, so he definitely has a plan going. Is there another Scathis? No, just a single Scathis, 113 kills, and you can see the effect. All these great naval units, and looks like a secret nuke here for Icon. Not really sure what he's going to be nuking. That's a really nice trajectory. He's going to avoid this anti-nuke. There's no anti-nuke in this position. I don't think there is. But see where he's launching that. Sounds like another support commander has died somewhere. Not really sure where, but this nuke avoids the anti-nuke. And that's the good thing about using your strategic subs. You can avoid the anti-nukes, and that's exactly what's been done. And that's going to cost a lot of power. Excellent nuke. Meanwhile, these bombers, let's see what they do. Actually, leaving your air force like this is probably dangerous against VMC and Icon. Might decide to have this air fight quite soon. And I think this is dangerous for the bottom side. I think if they lose air here, it'll be in huge trouble. I think they're totally overestimating their advantage. And this is going to slow me down. -5. Can't imagine how fast this was during the game. It's a lag under these circumstances. It's -7 now, -8. That's a few thousand ASF shooting at each other. It's really unavoidable. There's no single computer that can run this. I know people say things like it's not optimized or something, but it's really the fact you got to simulate every one of these low trajectories in relation to a whole bunch of other units, which is very difficult to do. But this is probably going to be enough reclamation for the top side to build multiple Tech 4 nukes, which actually I think would be a great way to finish it. Or even just a Paragon or something, just get infinite. Or don't see Seraphim for the top side. No, they gotta have Seraphim. Yeah, they do have Seraphim. T4 nuke would definitely be the best. Slowly, as the units are dying, we're getting more and more speed. And it actually looks like, I think it's just way too many ASF for the top side. We are seeing Tiep still trying to micro. That's what it looks like from the top. That's a lot of air. A lot of dead planes. Each one of these is about 400 mass. If you have 400 mass per wreckage, and you get 1,000 wreckages, you get 400,000 mass. I'm sure there is 400,000 mass here, and for Tech 4 nuke, you only need about 300,000. So if you have the power and the build capacity, you might as well do it. And now it appears the air has been lost, and that's probably going to be game over, because now with air control and all this reclaim, we're seeing restorers from Tiep going after this Scathis. Those are not going to survive. So we saw the idea is just not enough volume for the bottom side. And didn't even do damage to that Scathis. And Blackheart realizing now it's over. We see these Strat Bombers, but there's no way they're going to get through the cloud of ASF on the top side. Immediately, Icon and VMC are going to come in. They're going to dominate air over enemy territory, deny air production. And really one of the biggest differences between these two sides are these hives. So much more hives for Icon. So much more build capacity. It's probably not where you want to retreat to. Tiep leading this massive air force from VMC. 2 Strat Bombers. That was a big strategic blunder. And looks like those were spotted on radar anyway. So it's going to be a lot of dead strats here in the corner. And that's going to suck. The Navy for Tiep still being suppressed by the Scathis, 116 kills. Most of those strats have now been killed. Yet another nuke. This is from that secret sub. Already 42 kills. And looks like a whole bunch of support commanders on the loose. These can create very expensive units very quickly. So it is really the end for bad company here. Oh wow, this is good looking. 3 nukes. And if that can catch somebody unaware. BMC here sitting next to anti-nuke with 3 missiles. So just enough. Actually, now 4 missiles. And enough missiles. But also quite close. Actually, some strats made it all the way to Icon's base. Won't get to live for too long. And total air domination. And also Strat Bombers going after power. So in order for this game to continue, the bottom side needs to take air back. And a whole bunch of cruise missile launchers not being created on enemy territory by those support commanders. And it looks like the spam has been switched to Strat Bombers by Icon. And those are likely to come in and start ending this game. Still not, this has not been reclaimed. Blackheart throws in the towel, realizing it's futile. And it looks like Tiep is going to be thrown in the towel shortly. And this is a lot of strats here, that's probably why. Snuffat has decided to give up. Chip also throws in the towel, so this game's over here, minute 48. Excellent battle. Beautiful play from Icon and VMC early on. Snuffat gave a great battle, and I think it could have been much closer if Snuffat did not have to leave for whatever reason, because that would have really given a big build capacity and unit advantage for the bottom side. Maybe not build capacity, but unit advantage. Hopefully people enjoyed it. And actually, let's look at the stats, hot stats. That's in terms of mass in. You can see Icon running away. It looks like that's probably a lot of reclaim here. And you can see he got over 1 million mass. Oh, that was score. Nope, that was the mass. Energy. You can see here that's VMC. Looks like something happened there. But Icon just going from pretty low here in the last 15-20 minutes, just taking off. See total build. That's when you had the gives. So it would definitely be nice to export this data. It would be really much easier to present it besides this way in some other ways. So hopefully people enjoyed this game.